Hey, what's up, everybody? This is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game Heroes. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the event team and some combinations that are used for this event for Occult Retribution. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how much damage this team can do on its own. Generally, we don't really use the event deck on their own for a reason, because it doesn't compare to some of the other combinations. And so if you did get this deck, and what I'm using here is two Master Collection cards. I have the Shiny and the Ultra Rare card, as well as one event card. And we're going to go up against a boss that I have locked up. So we're going to go in and we're going to see how much damage we can do with this setup. Now I have it locked so that I could just go in, show you the damage and then come out without worrying about other people hitting it. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is, when you use a full event deck, what is its, what is capable of doing. And so with this particular deck, it will get when you activate the battle skill, all of the cards here will essentially get a 200% attack increase when you're at full health. And so with this, what we're going to do is we're going to try and see if we can maximize the damage by doing a gem match of all the power gems here. And let's take a look and see how much damage each card deals. And you can see here it's about 14, between 9 to 15, right? 9.6 to 14.6. So not a ton of damage there. In fact, this total was less than 100 trillion output. And so if you think about the health of a Corellian boss, and this is a 3-turn deck, it's going to take a long time before you could take it down. Although it does, it is more consistent. So basically, you should expect it to be about that much, right? Almost 100. So if you can get in as many attacks as you can, as many hits as you can in a single attack, you can at least chip it down. So if you lock it, then you could probably chip it down, even though it's a Corellian boss. It would just require really fast fingers. And the reason I say it's more consistent is because I've tried this multiple times, and each time it comes out to about 12 to 14 trillion per card. And so every 3 turns you should expect about that much, because you're not dealing with any off affinity, you're not dealing with any sort of like weird power gem matches. So that's what you can expect. So now for the teams that most people are running, this is the most common variation. So it's going to be the ultimate form, which is the paranormal agents, and the Freedom Fighters. This is sort of the combination. If you're using Freedom Fighters, most people are going to be running High Performance Unit Iria as the card that's going to give it the damage boost. And then Glorious Golems is the card that is going to help convert the off affinity power gem. And the one that we're going to be using is Lost Kingdom Guardians, because it's the simplest, because it doesn't have any requirements for gem matches in order to be powered up because of haste. But any of the previous season's ultimate forms or cards can be used. And so one, for example, is the fire card, the honor bell luminaries. So this is an example of a card that you can use, but you do need to charge up using fire relics. Then you can also use another option, and that is going to be the light commander card, and that is going to be the Afterlife Alliance. This card was something that was an option that I had checked out. And it actually worked pretty well. It was a pretty good surprise there. So that is also an option for you. The Earth Slayer one is the Earth Commander is also an option. Although what I guess it's not Earth Commander, it's Earth Slayer. So Earth Slayer Reaping Royalty can also work, but I generally prefer the light option more. But you can use the Reaping Royalty. It's all about the ability to create lots of power gems. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the water version. And I don't recommend the dark ultimate form here for obvious reasons, because we're trying to find an off affinity. And for relics here, I've got basically all relics that can help me destroy beast shield. And for the ones that are off color, I chose the ones that are commander based, because then they don't generate additional off color gems that could just become a nuisance to deal with. So the way that you activate this particular setup, I found that there is 2 different ways you can think about it. The first one is a 3-turn setup. So you activate on as soon as as soon as you finish matching your gems on the first turn, and then you wait for the boss to hit you, and then when that does, you're in the supercharged mode. At this point, what you can do is you activate your Lost Kingdom Guardians, and then you just activate all of your power gems after that. And so depending on how much your gems crush, you could have various degrees of damage output. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a gem etch here, but we're going to try and not kill the boss. So depending on the outcome, I'm going to pause the fight. Okay, so it's 380. So I'm gonna let this go because that will deal about 380. So close to 2,000, close to 2 quadrillion there. So I probably should not have to let the nuke go in because now I can't show you the other hit here. But let's go ahead and see if we can find another boss, either found by me or something. But basically that is, the first variation. So you can use the 3-turn variation to do your attack. And then if you wanted to do a what I found is that sometimes it's not very consistent, because I've seen sometimes you saw there the last hit was about 400 trillion, but I've often seen my hits hit for about 60 or so. And so what I'm going to show you here is another option to delay by 1 turn, because the golems has a passive ability that will passively spawn power gems, and if it's in the supercharged mode, it will spawn double the power gems. And so what you can do is you can really sort of set your board a little bit better and hope for a more consistent output in damage. And so we're going to set this up exactly the same, and let's hope that the boss survives long enough for us. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here. So we're going to, let the boss hit us. We're not going to lose any health here, but instead of activating everything right now, I'm just going to go ahead and do a power gem swap to lose all of our gems on the board. And then we're going to reset. We're going to let the passive ability come on, and then we're going to activate everything at this point. And let's see if we do a little bit better job of overriding our power gems and getting a better damage. Now, it's not always consistent. I'm just trying this out just to see if I can replicate or be a little bit better. And you can see here now my Freedom Fighter actually dealt 618 trillion, so about 200 trillion better. Now, in this particular case, I did a lot better, but it's not always going to be the case. Like even though with this particular variation, I find it generally helps me increase the damage a little bit. It still could happen that I do everything right, and then I end up seeing maybe 25 trillion per hit, right? And so it does happen, but it's just that in my experience, I think that I see it be more a little bit consistent in terms of higher damage, even though there's still a chance that it could be really low sometimes. So give it a try. If you're finding yourself not having very good luck with the damage output, that could potentially be something to sort of make it a little bit better. And since the bosses aren't getting one shot, you have time. Okay. Now, another option I wanted to showcase here is a team that uses the Afterlife Alliance without golems, without Freedom Fighters. And if you have this event team, and you happen to have the Afterlife Alliance, could this work? Well, let's take a look. All right. So this is a setup that depends on just off affinity, and it's built on top of the similar idea as the fire and the water combination I showed in one of my previous episodes, where you could basically just use those two to override each other and get enough of a damage boost, from just powering up the power gems, so you don't even really need any of the attack booster cards, because if you don't have it, then that is going to be an issue. But with this deck, you need to activate this the cards first, and then you do an attack. Then what happens is it's going to come back with 20 power gems total, and then the dark cards will they'll passively create power gems, and sometimes they'll overwrite the light ones, so then you don't actually get gem crush. And so when that happens, then it gives you an increased chances of overriding your other power gems. And so you can see here, I think the total output, we can take a look and see what the output is going to be. That looked somewhere around 600,000 trillion or so. And so this is not too bad. right? I don't think it's too bad at all, because if you don't have, any booster cards, and if you're using just the event team, this is how you can boost your damage from 12 to 14 trillion to about 200 trillion per card. So just using that is a good option. We're gonna try some other options also. We're gonna try and use the Earth option. All right. So what we're gonna try and see is if the Reaping Royalty and the Anli, I forget the name now. Let's go ahead and switch this out. We're gonna try the ultra rare card of the Earth Slayer deck as well. So we're gonna try these two. And so the way that these decks work is it will spawn power gems if it actually dispels something. So you don't actually need to worry about activating this. Like, so when you use True Form Anli deck, for example, like the battle skill, it does a cleanse. So like you kind of need to use that cleanse or to dispel. But if other cards dispel, it will also activate it. And so you don't actually need to worry about it in this case. So, but just in case, we're gonna go ahead and bring in some. Relics anyway. It's just that with the light deck, it works well because it also is a beast killer, so you can use a relic that boosts that. That's the one thing I didn't mention. It works well this way. But True Form Anli is not, Reaping Royalty is not a beast killer. So if you want to use a Earth deck, you're gonna have to use other options here, and I think none of these are Earth for. Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna be able to work it, but it's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep our relics here just so that we can break all of the shields. So let's give it a try. So you can already see this is gonna be a little bit tougher because I don't really have the good relics to go with it, but we can give this a shot. So let's go ahead and what should we try this on? So I guess here's another boss I can go with. So we're gonna go ahead and try this out. So this is without any boosters, just using some of the previous seasons. So like, if you invested in any of the decks in the previous season, you had this particular deck, you could try and get them mixed for some results. All right. And so in this case, we're going to take a look and see how we do, because we're going to have to wait for 2 turns, because it depends on whether or not we dispel. So if we can dispel Panic here, so which we do, we're actually going to create a bunch of dark gems. And so it's very much like a similar effect to the Afterlife Alliance. And now let's see how much damage we can do if we were to go with, actually it's probably better to go with this 10 and 10 here. Let's see how much damage we can do per dark card. And so a little bit less, right? 116, so for about 350 to 400 trillion. So it's still better than using the full team on its own, and it is going to be better than any other options if you don't have the Water Slayer deck, right? If you don't have Lost Kingdom Guardians, if you don't have Honor Bell Luminaries, those two would have been my first choice. If you don't have those two, if you don't have golems, you could still use Afterlife Alliance or even Reaping Royalty. And so those are all options also. Now, the final thought I have here is if you don't have the event ultimate form, you could still use the Draconic Scoundrels deck ultimate form, which will serve pretty much the same purpose. The only thing that you have to watch out for is that you activate it before you activate your other off affinity cards, because it will destroy all non-dark gems. And so you activate this first, and then you'll be able to play the same way. So let's go ahead and try against another boss here. So here is one I got rallied by a guildmate here, Hera. Let's hope that it doesn't die. But I'm just gonna show you how to activate. This is a 1 pink star ultimate form, so all of our cards are getting a 400% damage boost instead of 900%. And so let's go ahead, and you're going to play this exactly the same way. Okay? You're going to play this exactly the same way, activation order and everything, mostly the same, except for this one difference where you're going to be activating you're going to be activating Draconic Scoundrels first. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get this set up by activating Draconic Scoundrels. Then we're going to activate the Lost Kingdom Guardians, and then we're going to go ahead and activate the other 2 cards. And just by the Gem Crush, though, I can sort of see that it's not going to be as good as we hope. But let's see how much damage we can potentially deal with our Freedom Fighters. So with this particular setup, it's always the Freedom Fighter that is going to be your big damage dealer. But we're able to do relatively well. 184 there translates to actually almost 1 quadrillion damage there. So we're gonna go ahead and exit out, and then let's take a look and see how much damage we did. So this is with a single star ultimate form, Draconic Scoundrels, and with a similar setup, we're able to deal over 1 quadrillion damage. And it's all about the boost from high performance unit area, and it's all about the nuke damage from the Freedom Fighters. But again, if you don't have those teams, you don't have those cards, you could still get some relatively good damage with any of the previous teams from the previous season for your cards that you can couple with. But I think that Afterlife Alliance actually surprised me quite a bit in that it worked out relatively well. And the nice thing here is Afterlife Alliance, unlike the Lost Kingdom Guardians, it will always give you the same number of power gems. So that means you can reproduce this damage output over and over and over again. If you can do this if you can do this fast, you can get multiple times in, so you can get some good damage with this. So that's gonna be it for me for today. Hopefully this helps you with some ideas, and if you're stuck, if you have the cards but you don't know what to pair with, hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if you have any other questions, concerns about the deck itself. Feel free to ask in my channel in the network chat, or you can ask in the video below. So thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.